Coming up tonight on YCN News, the first person in the U.S. has died from Ebola complications. 2 Vermont adults are charged with second-degree murder of a 13-year-old boy. And Claremont's Arrowhead Recreation Area introduces its new groomer for the upcoming winter season. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now that the first person in the U.S. has died from Ebola complications, it is natural to worry about what else could happen regarding this deadly disease. Precautions to block the spread of Ebola is taking place at all levels, including locally. Nationally, federal officials today announced any passengers on incoming flights from 3 Western Africa, the focus of the Ebola outbreak since May, will be screened for Ebola symptoms, including fever. 5 of America's largest international airports will be the focus, the New York Times reports. New York, Washington, D.C., Newark, Chicago, and Atlanta comprise the 5 airport locations. Passengers arriving at those airports from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea will be screened. On its website in late August, the Department of Homeland Security issued travel warnings to U.S. citizens, citing potential implications for travelers because of the Ebola outbreak in the 3 Western Africa countries. Locally, Valley Regional Hospital Director of Community Engagement, Rolf Olson, says the Claremont-based hospital has received information and updates from state and federal sources. Valley Regional already has infectious disease measures in place, Olson tells YCN News Today. Recently, hospital staff held a drill to prepare for how to handle an outbreak of MERS. MERS is viral respiratory illness, whose acronym stands for Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. Olson says hospitals in general are learning to handle previously unknown diseases, and the size of a hospital does not mean more preparations are underway. Everyone is learning through this, and no one really expects it to happen in their hospital, says Olson in an email. It's clear that awareness is heightened significantly here and elsewhere, but the likelihood of Ebola appearing here, in a rural area, is lower than in some of New Hampshire's urban hospitals. That's because at a larger city hospital, a broader spectrum of patients may be seen. Regionally, a nonprofit organization with ties to Vermont and New Hampshire is under the scrutiny of the Vermont Attorney General's Office for Financial Mismanagement. Attorneys working in the office of Attorney General William Sorrell filed yesterday an order seeking the removal of the director and 4 board members of Emerge Family Advocates, Incorporated. Emerge Family Advocates is a not-for-profit program that arranges supervised visits between parents and children. Its offices are based in White River Junction, Vermont, at 2160 North Heartland Road. According to its website, safevisitsvt.org, Emerge was founded in 1996. Its mission, per the website, is to help families function in a healthy way by providing safe, neutral settings and services so children can have a relationship with both parents. The services it provides are funded largely through grants. Its connection to New Hampshire also is in the form of grants from the state and federal Department of Justice. In Windsor County Superior Court, documents reveal the AG's concerns. Emerge Executive Director Ramona Russell overpaid herself without the board's permission on several occasions. The nonprofit did not have a bookkeeper or accountant. Russell wrote several checks to herself. And when board members spoke up about governance concerns, they were asked to leave the board. Until an on-site visit and review of records and financial documents can be completed, Vermont and New Hampshire authorities recommend holding further funding for services Emerge provides. In other Vermont news, 2 of the state's 3 members of its congressional delegation say requiring voter IDs at the polls hampers free elections by some groups. Senators Bernie Sanders and Patrick Leahy joined other political leaders to write a nonpartisan memo about voting law changes. Minority and college-age groups are hurt by having to have IDs ready, is one point made in the report. To read the report, go to gao.gov. Its title is Issues Related to State Voter Identification Laws. Turning to New Hampshire politics, YCN News is inviting viewers to the next political debate it will host. Candidates for the State Senate District 8, Democrat Linda Tanner of Sunapee and Republican Jerry Little of Ware, will debate each other. The public is invited to the hour-long debate beginning at 7 p.m. Monday, October 20th at the Library Arts Center in Newport. The Library Arts Center is located at 58 North Main Street at the back of the Richards Free Library. District 8 comprises 24 towns, including Newport, New London, Newbury, and Sunapee. Questions from the audience will be taken at the end of the debate. If you are unable to attend the debate, you can watch it on TV. WYCU TV 26 will televise the debate at 8 and 11 p.m. on Tuesday, October 21st, and at 8 and 11 p.m. on Thursday, October 23rd. WYCU is carried on Comcast Channels 20 and HD 712, also on TDS Cable Channel 13. No matter the location, the elderly continue to be the target of potential scam artists. A 78-year-old woman from Shaftesbury, Vermont, was too sharp for him and reported the phone call to state police. Shortly after noon yesterday, Pauline Knapp Granger received a phone call from a man claiming to work for the IRS, Alex Cooper. Cooper told the woman that she owed back taxes as a result of an IRS audit. The number Cooper gave to Knapp Granger to call was 404-300-9453. State police investigated the woman's concern. The number is not that of the IRS. Police determined Cooper does not work for the IRS. Instead, Cooper attempted to convince the woman and perhaps other elderly citizens that they owed back taxes and money would go to a private account. Anyone with any information is encouraged to contact the Vermont State Police at 802-442-5421. A story out of northern Vermont may be unsettling. Yesterday, the Vermont State and Hardwick Police Departments issued an arrest warrant for 2 adults related to the death of a 13-year-old boy. The woman, 38-year-old Melissa Robitaille, the mother of the teen, and her boyfriend, 38-year-old Walter Richter III, are charged with second-degree murder. The investigation into the boy's death began in August when his death was reported on the 22nd. The boy experienced numerous physical health challenges in his life and required much care. Through the course of the ongoing investigation, it was learned that the boy's mother and Richter put alcohol in the boy's IV bag and administered it to him. Toxicology reports showed the level of alcohol in the boy's body to be 0.14. This contributed to his death, say police. An arraignment will be set at a later date. When YCN News returns, the Arrowhead Recreation Area in Claremont introduces its new groomer for the winter season, and we'll take a look at some fall foliage.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. The fall season is at its peak with Columbus Day weekend approaching, but ski and snowboard enthusiasts are already excited for the coming winter snow. One local ski area is getting prepared for the season with a new purchase that will benefit the slopes. The Arrowhead Recreation Area in Claremont, New Hampshire this morning unveiled their new groomer for the coming season. Let's hear from board member Mike Snyder to learn more.
And the reason that we bought a new groomer this past spring is because ever since we got Arrowhead going again in about 2002, we've been actually using some 1970s vintage grooming equipment, and it just finally got to the point where it just wasn't possible any longer to use that equipment. So we lucked out. At the end of the spring, that's usually when the big ski areas will start putting up their equipment for sale after having used them only about 3 or 4 years. And right in our own backyard, Sunapee was selling this unit here, which is a Prenoth BR350 grooming machine, and we got a great price on it, and so we purchased it.
The Arrowhead Recreation Area will hold a benefit concert later this month to help with the purchase of this new groomer. Stay tuned to YCN for more news on this event as it approaches. All it takes to enjoy the beauty of the fall season is an awareness of it. Today we share a photo sent to YCN News by David Nelson. Thank you for sharing, David. Please send us more weather-related photos to news@ycnnow.com. Thank you. When YCN News returns, we'll join Kearsarge Chronicles' Laura James, who met with Taylor Knapp from the Lake Sunapee Bank.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we have mostly clear skies with lows in the 40s. Winds will be between 5 and 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with highs in the upper 50s and winds up to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow night we'll have a low of 37 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Friday will be mostly sunny with highs in the upper 50s and winds between 10 and 15 miles per hour. Friday night will be partly cloudy with lows around 41 degrees. And now it's time for our fall foliage report. We will keep you updated on the turning of the foliage in New Hampshire and Vermont counties. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow in New Hampshire, the Newbury Union Church is holding a flu clinic from 4 to 6 p.m. In Walpole, the Select Board will meet at 6 p.m. Then at 7 p.m., the Grantham Town offices will host an energy conservation workshop. In Brattleboro, Vermont, the Whetstone Station Restaurant and Brewery will host the Bell Machine Concert at 8:30 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Let's take a look at high school sports, starting with girls field hockey. Lebanon and Kingswood faced off yesterday. Lebanon outscored Kingswood in an outstanding 9-2 victory. In boys soccer, there was a Sunapee and Stevens matchup last night at 6 p.m. It was a close one. Sunapee won by 1 point and the final score was 3-2. Sunapee's record improves to 8 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie game. Stevens' record decreases to 7 wins and 4 losses and 1 tie. In girls soccer, there was another Stevens and Sunapee matchup. After some good plays by Stevens, they managed a 3-1 win over Sunapee. Congratulations to our local teams for their efforts.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor.
The YCN News continues in a moment.